Hey everybody, it's Marvin and Vicky from Traveling Vicariously, and we're standing here in front of Bob Hayes' statue, and you might be wondering, why are you back at the statue? Well, first of all, it's one of the reasons is because I wasn't here when Vicky did this piece, so here I am. And today we have a very special honored guest that actually knew Bob Hayes. Today we're going to be interviewing Miss Mary Green, who is a friend of Bob Hayes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, we have Mary Green of Jacksonville. She is a friend, or well, I guess she'll always be a friend of Bob Hayes.
I'm still a friend of Bob Hayes.
That's right.
I will forever be a friend of Bob Hayes.
There you go. And we just wanted to know, how did you come about meeting Bob Hayes?
Actually, we were in high school together, and I was a year ahead of him. He was in 11th when I was in 12th. And I think I met him around his 11th grade year. When I left to go off to college, he was a senior in high school and I was a freshman at FAM.
Yeah.
So we kind of communicated back and forth all the time.
And you picked up that relationship at FAMU?
We picked up a relationship before we left here. We were just buddies, you know.
Uh-huh.
And you know, he'd tell me about his girlfriends, I'd tell him about my boyfriends. We were those kinds of friends. But when he came to FAMU the first time, he was running in a track meet, but it was a high school track meet, and I was already a freshman. And that was really the first time that I could remember seeing him run a race by himself, other than spotting me and beating me. But he ran, you know, the last leg of the relay team that they brought up there, and he smoked everybody. We call it smoke, but he outran everyone.
Yes.
But
tell us about the time that he spotted you.
he gave me about 2 lengths. I'm saying, say from this tree to that tree down there, and I thought I was fast. Among girls, I was a killer. But when he gave me that length and shoot, that's why I was giving it all I could, and that's why he just passed me zip, just like that. I mean, just bam. I was so mad at him, I wanted to choke him.
So he is as fast as everybody says he is.
He is as fast. You could not believe how fast he was. I mean, it was like Roadrunner.
Yeah.
You ever remember the cartoon Roadrunner?
Yeah.
And he just zipped by everyone.
Mhm.
That's exactly what he did. And like I told you, when it was in '64 when he was in the Olympics, when he got the 2 gold medals, he anchored our team, USA team, and they were like 4 or 5 back when he got the baton, and he smoked them. He smoked 4 countries to come in. Now some said it was 8-6, but we don't, you know, I don't know if it's official, but because that was the last leg of the relay that he ran. But that was the year that he ran the 100 in 10 flat, and that was the first time anyone had ever broken 10 flat.
A record that stood for quite a while, too.
Sure.
Quite a while. So, when you were at FAMU, what was going on there?
Can't tell you everything. We were students. Now he was an elementary ed major, and I was a physical education major. So we really didn't have many classes together. I think we took first aid together. And that was the only thing. I don't know why he was in that class. He had no business being there, but he was in there with us because he had some friends that were here. Curtis Miranda played football with him at Gilbert and at FAMU, and I know Austin was in that class, and he ran track with Austin, so they were all friends. I don't know how Coach got him in there, but they got him in there. So he was in. We were ahead of him, but he was in there with us. But that was the only class I ever took with him. Other than that, you know, we did hang out together, you know, like going out places. I had to go with him and his girlfriend.
Chaperone.
But I went in. I didn't chaperone nothing. But I was just there. You know, they just take me along for the ride because we were homies.
Right, right.
You know, when you get in college, that's one thing about it. If there's someone from your school especially, they always your homegirl, homeboy, that kind of thing.
That's right.
So I will say this because Gilbert was a small school and there were not many students there from our school. So we just sort of took care of each other. There were a lot of kids there from Jacksonville, but not from Gilbert, because we're East Siders. Most of the kids here lived on the west side or, north side, somewhere like that. But there were not many kids from this side of town. And if you look at this area, I didn't live up here, but I lived out 21st, which was still, what I guess the lower echelon people. I was blessed enough to have a father that worked hard and took care of us, but many people just didn't have much, so there were not many kids who could afford to go to college, back then from our school. But now the Stanton area, or those kids were, the upper echelon, I guess, of black kids, and they went to FAM. There were many students from that side of town that were FAM, but from the east side, there were not many of us.
And we're standing in the east side of Jacksonville.
You are on the east side. You're on First and Florida Avenue. This used to be the popular rolling area of it, but now when we were growing up, my father did not allow us up here because of, this was, sort of like a fast part of town. Like Ashley Street on the west side was sort of big, and Florida Avenue on the east side was, kind of popular. But this was an area that we could not come to. Now there were stores, all this building, all this stuff over here is new. There was a shoe store on that corner. My father used to bring us to a shoe store. Up there was Mathis Shoe Store. So we bought our shoes, and she was the dean of girls at our high school, the Mrs. Mathis, but her husband ran a shoe store on that corner. So many of us bought shoes right there. So my dad would bring us up here to buy shoes. There was a barber shop on that corner over there on Florida Avenue first. And later on, there was a liquor store. Jack's Liquors was there. So that was about all. That was about this side of town. And when I say joints were all along here, and they had a movie theater in the area where this park is. It was called the Pix Theater back in days.
What year, do you remember what year that was? Or
No, I left high school in '58. So, and Bob graduated a year after us. But I can't. But when I left, this area was that way. Now I was not allowed to come up here, other than riding through, in my dad's car.
right.
But because he was a little strict.
And the school is still there.
The school is still there. It is now a 7th grade center. But the building and the name is still the same, Matthew W. Gilbert.
So we all refer to him as Bob Hayes. Others refer to him as Bullet Bob Hayes. But you have an affectionate nickname for
Well,
him.
I refer to him as Crow.
How did that come about?
We just always called him Crow because he moved fast. and we said, look at Crow running down, blah, blah, blah. But we always called him Crow. I don't know if it was from his complexion or I don't know. No one ever told me why we called him Crow, but we just did. And I sometimes think it might have been because, we're about the same complexion. And that might have been the reason. That was it.
So did he come back to Jacksonville when he became a Dallas Cowboy?
Oh, he was always here. He was always here, and he was always about. And he was up and down these streets. Everyone who lived in that era could tell you lots about him because he was real popular on this street. His mother had moved. His mother wasn't living on this side of town. She lived on the north side of town. And even when he came back, he was still with his mom. But like I said, his father had a place over here. His father didn't walk. His father was in a wheelchair. And even when he went to Miami to win the Super Bowl, they brought his dad out on the field in a wheelchair. So Saipan didn't walk. We always called him Saipan, his dad. But he had a place across the street over here, and he would be out here. We would be out here to his place. But other than that, he was always here. He was always here.
That's great. As a person that knew him personally, How was he?
Fun, crazy. Oh, how can I say? Let me tell you one thing about him. He would give you the shirt off his back. He was really free with everything he had. So he always, took care of other people. So there was never anything. And no matter how much he went and played with Dallas and all these things, he always came back. Say I was at the fish market one day, and I was coming out of the fish market. He came and jumped on my back. I'm saying, so he was still same old crow. He never changed. And I remember he was at Bob Hayes track meet one day at Rains, and I went and jumped on his back. So payback. He said, payback. I said, yeah, I remember you jumped on me at the fish market. He said yes, and I think I was at Trout River one day, and I hadn't seen him for a while, but that was the kind of person that he was. Jovial, plenty of fun. I might have used a few words, but he was good. We had plenty of fun together. And like I said, I thought he was always a caring person. That was, he took care of me. Okay? you know what I'm saying. It's like, I remember going to Dallas when he was playing with Dallas and met his friends and all that stuff, but he was just caring.
That's fantastic.
I remember he bought me a pair of shoes. They were so big, my feet were hurting. He bought me a pair of shoes. When I got back to Tallahassee, I couldn't wear them. They were that big. But that was the thing. But he was a caring person.
That's great. You got anything else?
I think that's it. It's just
think
very.
that's-
Would you
Yeah.
like to add
And
something?
I told you the last time I saw him
Yes.
before his death was about 3 weeks. And he came over because I was at Reebok working. And he came over to tell me what a good job he heard that I was doing. And that he was proud of me. And I said, I'm proud of you.
Right.
You're saying that you're proud of me. I'm really, I'm proud to know you and know
Right.
the things that you have accomplished. But in his latter days, he was home with his mom. He was not doing well at all. He was sick.
I know what I was going to ask. Did they have a parade for him here when he won the Olympics?
No. But now, Coach Washington, who died last year, was a coach at Gilbert, and he started the Bob Hayes track meet. And when it started out, it was just a few schools. I think the last time they had about 50-some schools all across the state and everywhere to come in for that track meet. So that's probably the largest event that they have here in his memory.
And they still have it to this
Yeah,
day?
they still have it.
That's what I read,
But
yeah.
he was, here
Right.
while that track. I told you that's the time I jumped on his back when he was at the Bob Hayes track meet. But that's the only thing that I think they do. They put his statue out here, and it was, because this was where he was from, the area that he was from, and many people thought that it should have been, somewhere else.
I know they have some memorabilia in the Ritz.
Yes. And they still have some at Gilbert School and at Rains, because Coach Day has done a lot with that track meet to help him out. He's done a marvelous job over there with that track meet. So they know him, very well.
And I've been to his gravesite over on
did?
Edgewood.
At Edgewood?
Yes, very nice, very nice. With his mom, I think, is buried with
My
him.
husband is over there, and I'm going over there.
Yeah, Edgewood. It's a really beautiful cemetery. And it's the
Yeah.
first thing you see when you drive in.
That's right. He's right there in the front.
Yes. And we encourage people to think about it, when you come here. And we really appreciate you telling us.
Well, when I went to his funeral, there were a lot of old football players there. Roger Staubach and all of them were there. Not Coughlin. His coach came, but his coach was not there at the funeral.
Landry.
The one that wore Landry, the one that wore the hats all the time. He was there at the viewing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was amazed at looking at some of those old football players that you
Right.
see on TV and you never see in person.
Right.
But
They say he changed the face of football as far as defense is concerned
I'm
because
telling you now,
they had
he
to figure out a way to.
stop him. I told you what Jesse Jackson said about him at his funeral. He said how fast, he duped him. And all the guys start laughing. He said, he could have done that to any one of you all. But he was quick.
Well, we really appreciate your time
Oh,
in
anytime.
coming out. It's a very intriguing story. Very, very nice story.
And I'm going to brag on Miss Mary Green a little bit.
There's nothing about it.
Okay.
She is the mother of my very good friend, Rachel Dimmer.
Yeah.
And she's also, you were the dean at,
I was dean of girls at Sanderwood.
mhm,
I was junior high and senior high dean at Sanderwood. I was a vice principal at First Coast. I retired. Superintendent called me back. I went to Reebok for a year and a half.
so there you have it. She put in a whole lot of service for public schools, and even when she was retired, she came back.
Right.
I shouldn't have. Well, I will say this to you. I did enjoy every day that I've worked.
Yeah.
So I've been blessed. And the reason I say that is because I never had a school that I didn't like.
Mhm,
I never had a boss that I didn't like or didn't like.
mhm.
So
Awesome.
things had to be. Something was clicking.
Yes.
Right.
Well, thank you so much,
Quite
and we
welcome.
really appreciate it. And I guess we should mask up now.
All right.
Get going.